Well, hello and welcome to Talk Time. And this week we are taking a look at the general situation of traders. How has business been? What are their concerns? And how are the recent measures announced by government going to impact on their business? Welcome to Talk Time.
I'm home. Come to me. Oh, into that honey, sir. Dang.
Tasso. So when you mean to grab the Hanuma, can one carry an asset? Ade, pay your answer. Your mamma said,
Oh, what happened? Try me, maybe. What for cocoa bit? When it's blue, and answer, some legend. Young Casabe men say, what for cocoa capsules? A dray and number 2, and you minute 2, and your friend say, come 2, drop any, what tin of doom was seen to me, Yaduma. When my draw wabia, was this in Bedao, Amadeus or the what the
a dray and yama a pim for, one warmer and manu for, a name more fra when you fear do me.
Ghana Faja to Munti, cover 4 at the say, Malay.
Oh,
Well, hello and welcome back to Talk Time. And as I indicated from the very beginning, we are going to take a look at the plight of traders across the country, traders in the various sectors, traders all over the country. What is their plight? How are government measures recently announced going to affect them, so on. And we have the pleasure of having on the show Mr. Joseph Paddy, the Public Relations Officer of the General Union of Traders Association, the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Yes, sir.
And welcome to having me on your show.
Yeah. Now, your association, who are the members? What is it? What does it do?
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. GUTA is Ghana Union of Traders Associations. So you see S at the end of the associations, which is made up of sector associations coming together. We have the confectionery, those who sell biscuits. We have haberdashery people. We have electrical dealers. We have spare parts dealers. We have second-hand clothing dealers. We have phones dealers that has come together to form one group, and we have regional associations too. So we can see us in Ashanti region, Volta, Brong-Ahafo region, Western region, and then Central region and Eastern region. So where we are now at the moment is the new regions that was formed. So that is how. So we are about over 4 million membership in general. Yes.
4 million.
Yes, putting all together with the regional basis. Yeah.
Now, what are some of the problems that you face? What are some of your problems?
Yes, one of the major, our job mainly is import-export drive. Yeah, but major we go into the import. What we do is that we play the supplementary role where the Ghana government cannot produce, where we don't have the commodity in the country, then we go out there to fish out for to supplement what the manufacturing sector is doing. So our major stakeholder and players in that industry is the currency that we're talking about. We use dollar to import. And in recent time, we realized that the fall of the cedi against the dollar was a major concern to traders. We lost as much as millions of cedis. People have lost their capital. Some have gone out of business. Because if you were changing the dollar at the rate of 4.9 and it went to 5.7, the difference is almost about 6,000. So if your capital was $10,000, that's about 49,000 Ghana cedis, and now it has moved to 5.7. Then you are going to have your capital is going to reduce to about from $10,000 to about $8,000. So you are losing your capital. So it was a major concern to traders, and that is why we petitioned the Council of State as also stakeholders in the governance, and then they forwarded it to the president. That's why we saw this recent reduction.
You are not there. I just want to have an understanding.
Yeah. So this is how come.
One of your problems is the depreciation.
The depreciation of the cedi. Yeah.
What are the other problems?
The instability of the cedi. Yes, so it's difficult to do projection in our business.
Well, it's depreciation, it's not instability.
Okay, yeah, let's take it so. Yes, yes, yes. And apart from the depreciation, the availability of funds too is also a challenge. That's where you see most of our people go into the black market and then trying to patronize the black market, which is not healthy in our economy. So it's been a concern. And one of our major concerns is that
the banks don't make foreign currency available.
It's not available to the trading community, so we end up falling on this black market, and we also try to patronize because it's a demand driven, so you always need the money. Yes, and one of the things we also were complaining about is that most times when the government is coming out with a policy that concerns trading, they don't invite us to make an input. And that is why most times you see us fighting government policy, going on demonstration. But we believe that if you are coming out with a policy to enhance or to facilitate our business and trade, at least we should make an input. Then we have a win-win situation. So it has been a challenge, but this is what we've been crying for all this while, that we are stakeholders. And therefore, whatever policy you are coming out, when it comes to trading, we must be involved. But most times they slap policies on us, and it's not healthy. And you know, when we go on demonstration, you know how much we lose. So it's not a pleasant thing to go. You are, let me say, you are captain in a demonstration. You know how much you lose when you go on demonstration. So we don't want to come to that point. All that we want to see is that let's have that collaboration. Governance is collaboration between the executive and the stakeholders. We have employed the executive to work on our behalf. Therefore, we must make an input to whatever policy is coming on board. But we don't see it that way. So that is some of the challenges we face.
What about access to credit?
Yes, it's also a major concern. Not only access, but the cost factor to is another major concern, because we are in a competitive world. You know, our other players outside there are getting as a credit for about 3%. You are getting for 27%. So, my big brother, let's assume that we're all given the same contract of $1 million. And then I don't have the money, I have to go to the bank, and that my competitor also has got a contract for $1 million. He has to also go to the bank, and he's getting for 3%, and I'm getting for 27%. Obviously, my goods will be expensive than his. Obviously, you win the contract. So that's why you see most of the contract going to foreigners, because the access of credit is there, and then the cost component is cheaper than that of ours. So it's also a concern in the business community that we are facing. That's why I'm saying that. And when you go to some of the MDAs, the ministries, they have some dexes on their butts. Information is not coming to the trading community. So recently I made a complaint that why can't we have one common portal that we can access information? Because the last time I went to Ministry of Trade, they said they have small and medium enterprise desk at the ministry. But how many of us know that? You see, so it has been a concern. Information flow is not there. You want to go into business, you need to do projection. You are looking for data, you don't have it. You know, you go to, I want to import this diary. And then I say, custom, can you give me the cost of this diary when I bring it to a country? And there's no data. So it's difficult for every businessman in this country to do projection. So we speculate. We find it difficult to project. And then because of the currency, the access to credit we are talking, because of the high cost of the credit, prices are not stable in the market. It's also a major concern to us. Because we also look at the purchasing power of the consumer before we also import. But if we bring it and the consumer cannot afford it, what is the sense? You have to keep it at a warehouse, paying warehouse fees. So it's generally, business is not healthy in the country at the moment.
You recently met with the Council of State. Why the Council of State? Why not the Minister of Finance or Minister of Trade? Why Council of State?
Yes, that's a very good question there. We did. You know, we tried to, what we did was try to make sure we take care of all avenues. Because we went to Ministry of Finance, we went to Ministry of Trade, we went to GIPC, we've made all these proposals to them, our plight, their concern, how cost of business is going down, how we are losing business to our neighboring countries. We know good to have our research team. We did all this research, and we realized that we were losing big business to our neighboring countries, because we used to have some partners from these neighboring countries, the West African countries. They no longer come to our port to apply our port again. Containers at the port is reducing. So after, with all this research, we thought it wise that we should see the ministry and talk over with them. We spoke to them, we wrote to them. We met the finance minister, the deputy, Kwesi Pratt. We met trade minister. We went to GIPC, Grant, we met Grant. And we realized that it's like there was I don't want to use a slow pace of action to, but we just said, why not? It's Council of State who advise government. So why can't we go to Council of State to advise government?
No, but if you are satisfied with the ministers, you wouldn't have gone to the Council of State.
We won't say we are not satisfied, but we will say the slow pace at which it was going.
So you are not satisfied?
Too much satisfied. The slow pace at which it was going. So we resolved to go to the Council of State, who is also a partner in governance, and then they advise president. So we thought it wise that why can't we see these wise people there to speak to them? And to be frank with you, when we went with our petition, the following day they called us. We sent our petition on Thursday, and Friday they called us for a meeting. We met them, and they saw sense in whatever we put on the petition, on the paper. And then I think Monday they went to governance, the seat of government, and they spoke to the president. And that's how come we saw this action taken by government.
Well, viewers, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'd like to find out from our brother and friend, Mr. Paddy, what were the issues they placed before the Council of State. What did you want the Council of State to do for you? Short break.
What's wrong?
They took all my precious stuff.
Did they harm you?
Just when they were about to, they hit the siren and bolted.
Scout the area. You don't have security cameras?
They stole everything.
I thought you used ghost cameras from security.
Security warehouse?
Yes, you should. They couldn't have gotten away the way they did without either being electrocuted or being caught on a CCTV camera.
Welcome back to Talk Time, and we are in conversation with Mr. Joseph Paddy, the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations. And we are talking generally about the situation, the plight of traders in the country, and we want to find out what happened when they met the Council of State. What did you put before the Council of State?
Yes, thank you very much. In our petition, we petitioned the Council of State on so many issues. One, on the foreigners in the retail sector, where it's preserved for Ghanaians, that there are certain areas. I believe every country has done that. Recently, I was reading policy on trade and commerce on the U.S. What it seems to do is to bring restrictions to certain areas. Though WHO's World Trade Organization, WTO, says we must have trade liberalization, but every country has some policy on commerce to preserve and protect the indigents. That's why you can see even Nigeria, they have prohibition lists. As for these particular items, you don't have to bring it into their country because our Nigerians are providing those services and those facilities. In the same vein, GIPC also has that law, yes, where it says certain business has been preserved for Ghanaians. But we see that the law is not being enforced, and the foreigners are taking advantage of the law, even to the extent that they are doing hawking. And then with our research, we personally did that. We went around to buy from this foreigner to see if what we are hearing is true. And uncle, to my surprise, some of them were selling with A4 sheet. They were not taking VAT. They were not charging VAT. A4 sheet, no receipt. So we don't even know how much tax they pay to government. But you, the Ghanaian, in your small corner, every day IRS is on you. So we thought it's not a healthy practice. Why should a foreigner have advantage of its own people? So it was one of the petitions we sent to. And then we also sent a petition on the duty rate at the port. Cumulatively, we are paying about 51 to 63% cumulatively. So if you have about $100,000 goods of worth, you are paying about $51,000 as a duty, as a duty charge. And we think it makes compliance very low. That's why most people are looking for ways and means. That's why most times people are doing under invoicing, over invoicing. Because if you peg your compliance to be very difficult to be compliant, this is a challenge. So we told them that if they have to do something about the duty rate, especially for businesses, if they want to maximize revenue and the compliance level to go up, then that's what. So apart from petition, we also bring solutions. It's a two-way. And then so we told them that. And the recent depreciation of the CD was also a concern. We're not crying so much during this benchmark issue, which I was going to come to that. But when we saw the depreciation of the CD, we realized that it was really affecting capitals. And most people were going out of business. So we thought it was that, why not? Let's petition the Council of State, because if we wait a little longer, we don't know to what extent capital will be eroded. So we've sent all these petitions, and then they look into it. We sat down with them for over 2-3 hours, and we explained ourselves. And they also asked us for the solutions. We gave them some of the solutions, what should be done. And that is why we propose, even in our petition, we propose that they should look at these exemptions that have been given to people. They should really think and look at it, because another area we are losing revenue. Because people who are not supposed to get exemption are get exemption, and people are abusing it. So it was part of our petition that we sent to government, and then they look into it. So we're called the following day, and then I think the Monday they went to the seat of government and presented this petition, and the government also saw wisdom in what we sent, and they started doing something about it. Somebody will say half flow is better than that. This is a starting point. We'll see how far it goes. Yes, but recently I was at the town hall meeting. Yes, I was there, and then I listened to the vice president.
I was going to come. I was going to come to the issue of so far what has been done about foreigners in the retail trade.
So far, little has been done, because we're collaborating with government. We're collaborating with the Ministry of Trade. The Honorable Alan has been proactive. He has been very, let me be sincere to you, he has been very proactive on this issue. He went to Kumasi to see it for himself. He's been on the ground for himself. He's been going to the market himself to see, have first-hand information. So we set up a task force to go around, comprised with all the ministries, departments, and agencies. We have immigration, we have customs. Immigration want to check whether you have a permit to stay, to do business. We have GIPC, whether you have registered the organization. And most time, all this department, when they formed the task force, they went around, they saw it from some of them don't even have permit, they don't have resident permit, some of them have not registered their company, and they are doing trading. Some of them, one particular company in Kumasi that they saw was making huge daily sales. But at the end of the year, the IRS he paid just about 500 Ghana cedis. Someone who was selling about 20,000 Ghana cedis a day, and the whole year paid 500 Ghana cedis IRS. So when they saw this revolution, so then we have to act. So, but for now, little has been done. So this speculation, we perceive that the political will is not there. That is how we see it, and then we were pushing for it. It got to a time our people were frustrated. They want to take the law into their own hands, but we said no, we are law-abiding people. Let's give them a chance. So we're still waiting. So we are still putting pressure on government in that area. But in that area, little has been done. To be sincere with you, Uncle, little has been done in that area, and we think government should act now. Because to be sincere, you can't. Nigeria is telling you that you can't bring paracetamol to Nigeria. You can't. They are telling you can't bring rice to Nigeria because somebody is producing rice there, and they want to preserve and protect that individual person. And as a Nigerian, and their prohibition list, I was counting the last, it's about 19 lines of prohibition lists. Some certain alcoholic beverages, certain vegetable oils, you can't bring it to Nigeria. What it seems to do is to preserve that company and organization, which we think the same should apply here. Every country must have its own, how do you call it, a law that will preserve its indigenous. That's what we call, you can have a deliberate policy. Because, Uncle, as it stands now, the economic power is not in the hands of Ghanaians. Let's be sincere to ourselves. We look at the telecos, look at the banks. Even our banks, the local banks are even going. So all that banks left is for foreigners. So the economic power is not in the hands. And if you're a country that you hold on to political power and you don't have economic power, you're in trouble. Because somebody can use his economic power to influence your political power. And so government should come up with a deliberate policy. I'm here to see that. A deliberate policy to empower the Ghanaian no matter what the circumstances. I believe strongly that over a period of time, this foreign bank that we see doing well, they revolve over a period of time. So to me, we can still give our local banks a chance to still revolve, and then whatever is wrong, we can correct it, so that we can say this is our own. Because if one day these foreigners pack their bags and go, we are in trouble. So I was looking for a policy that will empower the Ghanaian economically. That's what we're looking for. And it's not, and if the only place left for us is the trading, and that one two foreigners are taking over, then we are in trouble. It's a serious challenge. Yes.
What about the depreciation of the city? Since you met the Council of State, have you seen any significant improvement?
Yes. You know, at the rate at which it was flying, it was extremely worrying. But now we see some stagnation, and then it's doing some hawking and then jumping up and down. It's better than none because it moves as far as 5.7, almost 5.8. We're going to hit
5.4.
It was going to hit 6. So if it was going to hit 6, and by the grace of God, it's come to 5.4.
It went to 4.9 and it started climbing to 5.4.
Yes, that's why we don't know what the magic. So, and that has been one of our concerns. You see, stakeholder engagement. So in all, when this town hall meeting that you spoke about, my joy as an individual was that at least for once we have stakeholder engagement. For once, stakeholder, because then let us appreciate what is going on. But the Bank of Ghana is not telling us what is going on. We don't know. So it gives room for speculations. So some of us were speculating. Some say it's an artificial because somebody has some dollars somewhere want to sell it.
So if Bank of Ghana is not telling you what is going on, where is the stakeholder engagement?
Oh, I'm talking about this town hall meeting. That's they were told so many things that. So I asked myself around that time. So if all this were going on, how come that stakeholders were not in the known?
But it was a monologue. I mean, the vice president spoke. You didn't speak.
We asked questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we asked questions. Yes, we asked questions. We just didn't allow him to just speak. We asked questions, and so some of the questions were very legitimate. Yes, there was a question I didn't get the opportunity to ask.
So the depreciation of the cedi does not also appear to have been solved.
Not in totality. Yeah, because we saw the reduction. It came as low as 5.04.
4.9.
It came to 4.9, then went to 5.03, and now it's moving to 5.4. So it's not been wholly solved. And that is why we said, if that one is not solved, whatever you did with our benchmarking is nothing to write home about. Because at the end of the day, the windfall here, this one will swallow it. If the dollar moves to 5.7 now, whatever gains we got from the benchmark as a reduction, we're going to lose it in that direction. So it must go hand in hand. The depreciation of the cedi, taking charge of the cedi, and then this benchmark value reduction must go hand in hand. Otherwise, we shouldn't have even done it at all. We were going to lose it from that angle.
Well, viewers, we're going to take another short break here. And when we come back, I'd like to find out from Mr. Joseph Paddy, Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations. I'd like to find out from him, this whole benchmark business, what is it? Is it really going to make an impact? So, short break.
Yes, Dad. Everything has been installed. Yes. Okay. I will be fine, Dad.
Yeah, for this debate tonight.
You gotta keep long, go do the far job. Charlie, high tech.
She the lie bad go happen tonight. This are no fence.
They couldn't get in this time.
How come?
Security warehouse.
Smart choice.
I guess you have some footage for me there. Crystal clear picture. Pause. I think I know this man. He has a long history with robbery and rape. You are fortunate to have equipped your house with gadgets from Security Warehouse. Call it in. We'll begin the investigation from here.
Control, come over.
Well, hello and welcome back to Talk Time. We have the pleasure of hosting Mr. Joseph Paddy. the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations. And we are talking about the plight of traders. Now, sir, this whole benchmark business, what is it? I mean, Vice President, His Excellency Mahmoud Bawumia says that benchmark values for imports, except vehicles, have been reduced by 50%, and for vehicles, 30%. What is it? What does it mean?
Yes. You know, in the import industry, over a period of time, once upon a time, we're using commissioner's value, where the SEPS commissioner has its own value, and then it's a discretionary values. And then WTO came with this convention that we should use transactional values for trading worldwide, and all those and we are part of it. We signed the convention to it. So the transactional value is your invoice value, how much you bought the item, and not what somebody thinks the item should cost. So that's what. So we're using commission's value, and the DICs came in, the Destination Inspection Company, they came in, and then there was an issue between importers and the Destination Inspection Companies, where we bring our invoice value, and they also have their values. They go to a market research, and they also have their value. So customs were then the referee. So custom comes in and said, oh, the value the DIC gave you are more, or the value you put in are more. So there was a meeting point. So over a period of time, the DICs built the data, which we all agreed and we're working with. So now, as a trader, you have that pricing. So when you go to buy your commodity, you know how much it's going to cost you to clear it. And then they took over from the DICs. And unfortunately for them, they didn't have the data. I don't know how they signed the contract. I think the DICs went with their data. So customer was finding it a little challenge. So they also went to do a market survey, and then every invoice they will uplift it. Every invoice. So they say that so they benchmark it to a certain level. So you can bring this commodity for $2, but they have benchmarked it to $6. So when we went to market, that's what the manufacturing prices says. But in business, the power of negotiation is there. I was saying somewhere yesterday that I went to a certain shop, myself and my friend, we bought the same item, but the gentleman gave it to me for $5 per piece, and he gave it to my friend $4.5. So after comparing notes, we went back and said, Gerard, why do you give me this at $5 and you gave it to my brother for $4? So I've been doing business with your brother for a long time. And then he buys in volume. So when you are now starting with me, so when you grow, I can also give you that discount. So we come to Ghana, and then somebody says, why should somebody bring 4.5 and you bring the same item for $5 and somebody's bringing 4.5? Then, which means my price. But to be sincere with you, it's a fact. So and WTO says whatever the case is, if the person can justify how he got to that price, you must accept it. But customs were not accepting it. So they will now have their benchmark. And the benchmark value was extremely high. So if the commodity cost, we say we bought it for $4, the benchmark is like $8. So
let's go step by step.
Yes.
The benchmark value is not actually the value of imports.
It's not actually the value of import.
It is a standard value.
It's a standard value
below which customs should not go.
Exactly so.
Okay. So if you import things and the value on your invoice is higher than the so-called benchmark doesn't apply.
If the value on your price is more than the benchmark, yes, then they have to take your price.
Then the benchmark
will not apply to you.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
So in that case, reduction of benchmark value is useless.
At certain commodity line, it's not useless.
If your price is higher than the benchmark doesn't apply.
Yeah. But obviously, most often, it doesn't stand so. Your price will not be always higher than the benchmark.
But there are instances where prices are higher than the benchmark.
In few cases, but not all cases.
But there are instances where prices are higher than the benchmark.
But percentage-wise, it's very minor.
Whatever it is, there can be instances where real prices are higher than the benchmark.
Yeah, in cases, you can find that in certain cases, which does not apply, which means it doesn't benefit you.
It means that in those cases, the benchmark value is not important.
To you at that particular point in time. But generally, it works in a sense that if I'm to use the benchmark value for cars, for example, because in cars we have to use home delivery value, They use home delivery value, which means they say at the manufacturing price. So if this car costs $42,000, and then that's the manufacturing price, and then the car is 2 years old, then they depreciate it by 2 years for you. But on your invoice value, you can buy that car for $2,000. So, but they don't take that one. You see, that is why the car.
So the benchmark value was actually introduced because customs did not believe importers.
Let me sincere. It's true.
Customs thought that importers were playing tricks.
So we are doing under invoicing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what they perceive us to be criminals. That's and I don't know why that perception is there for all this while. They perceive almost every invoice you bring. But uncle, I went to the US and an item that was going for $50. Item was going for $50, and they were doing sales, and the sales was 75% sales. So that $50 item, I'll get it about $19 or even $21, about $15. So if I bring that invoice, and then the original price were on the item, because my wife said don't take the sticker out, let it be so that people know the original prices. But in actual sense, my invoice value was just about $15. You see, but custom will not accept it. They will benchmark it because the manufacturing price is $50.
Okay. So we have agreed that the benchmark is not the actual price of the goods that are imported.
It's not the actual price of the goods that are imported. Let's take it so.
Fantastic.
Yes.
But also we agree that benchmarks have not always been there.
Benchmark has always been there.
What about when you had the destination inspection?
Yes, that was when we had a little relief. But when we were using commissions value, it was still benchmark.
No, I'm not talking about when you were using
commissions value. So it has always been there.
When you had a rigorous destination inspection regime, there's no benchmark.
We had a relieved because over a period of time, we have stable pricing in the values. Because we come with this value, they also come with the value. We all do market research, and at the end of it all, so they have a data that they were using, and we really liked that one. It was working for all of us. You see, so but in certain cases, at times the DICs go a little up, then we petition customs. The custom will come in and say, so with this, something must be done about it. Then they play the role of this reduction for us. So there are even some cases, DICs will go up and custom will come and say, no, this one is too much per our investigations. It has to be reduced. So that was what we were using.
Should we have benchmark values at all? Shouldn't we be following the WTO and use actual prices?
Exactly. That's what we're all looking for, that we should use the transactional value. But I don't want to play the holier than thou attitude, to be sincere with you. At times, not all times, custom have challenged with some of our invoices. Let's be sincere to ourselves. Custom have challenged them. So it's out of that is why how come we got this benchmark issue. But if all traders, if all traders will be sincere and will come with actual values.
But you know that customs is also not always sincere.
Customs is not always sincere. But we went further to tell that the reason why you don't see traders come with actual value is that the duty rates are just too much. So if you're able to reduce the duty rate, then you see the actual values. Because, Uncle, what country?
So what the Vice President announced, does it reduce the duty rate?
It didn't reduce the duty, but some of them, he said they have to go to Parliament to rectify it.
So the duty rate has not been reduced?
Yes, duty rate has not been reduced. Duty rate has not been reduced.
So your demand has not been met?
Not or some, but there's a relief somewhere. You see, we felt it when the dollar started moving up. We're not feeling too much, but until the dollar moving up against the cedi, that's where we felt it.
But the dollar is still moving up.
So we're going to still feel it. But we pray, that's why we told them that it shouldn't be one-sided. It must go hand in hand with the stability of the cedi. Otherwise, whatever you have done is useless.
But some have also argued that your own activities of excessive imports also drives up the value of the dollar, the value of foreign exchange.
It's not true. When you say excessive import, what does it mean? Is not there a demand? What inform our this choice of import is demand and supply base. If there's a demand in the country, people are looking for it. And as our economy stands now, manufacturing sector is not doing too well. It's difficult to go into manufacturing because utilities are high, interest rates are high. So even those who are in manufacturing want to come back into trading. You see, so once there's a demand, you can say, for example, medical supplies, there's a demand for it. So by all means, we need it. And if no country is self-sufficient, even America import. Yes, but we must try to balance it. That's what we call balance of trade, where we have to drive towards export. But we can only drive towards export when you make the manufacturing sector favorable. Let's assume, Uncle, if I manufacture this center table, and then I'm going to get a rate for about 10% interest rate on my facility, I'll go into it. But 27%, I can't be competitive. I'll produce this item will cost me about 100 Ghana cedis, and your competitor somewhere will produce it's going to cost about 20 Ghana cedis. So you are not, in the first place, you are not competitive. So obviously you go out of it. And in trying to play the supplementary role, where we want to bring the shortfall, we found out that those that we buy from outside are cheaper, the same quality, but still cheaper than that of which is produced in Ghana. So what can't we do something? Let's come up with a deliberate policy that whoever want to go into manufacturing, utility rates should come low for you, interest rates should come low for you, facilities should come low for you. Then you can go into. I had a friend who was manufacturing nails in the country here, and then he had employed over 120 people. He stopped manufacturing because the cost of manufacturing is expensive. So he started importing the nails from China. You see, so these are some of the challenges we have. So you don't just say we are importing. Is there a need? Obviously, we need nails to roof your house. Maybe, I don't know if you are putting a new house. We have to come and roof it for you. And you need some nails. So perhaps we import nails. But if you make the economy so much so that the manufacturing industry so easy and cheap and efficient, we're looking for cheap cost, and then the utilities to be cheaper for manufacturers. Well, it's not pleasant sitting in the air for 9 hours going to look for just nails to import to the country. If somebody is producing nails here, we just go and then do the distribution for the person. So let's, as a nation, let's come out. Let's have stakeholders. What can we do to enhance? I know you are in Nkrumah. You know, Nkrumah has that drive, and so why can't we go back again? We will fail. The gentleman who produced Bob, is it a White Brothers, whoever, John something, he did it how many times? Over 1,000 times. But at the end of it, today, you and I were enjoying Bob. He's no longer here. He's not in existence. So we'll fail, but we still have to encourage ourselves, so that we will encourage our manufacturers that let them. You have failed the first time, you failed the second time. We still encourage you to move on. America, they will ask you why you failed. They still want to inject money into your business so that you grow. When you grow, all the loss you incurred during your starting or beginning, you can recoup it. So this is what we should have at the table. In this country, if you want to do business, we don't have portal. You don't know where to go for information. No data. Vice President spoke about digitization, which we all agree to it. But if you're looking for information on trading, you don't have. So the digitization we are looking for, where are we going? If you want to engage in any business now, you don't know where to go. You don't have even a portal to just go at the bottom and click and even make a comment. They put your comment on there. That or even government is coming up with a policy. That the recent university policy, there should be a portal, just put it there. Let people make comment. And then out of that, you can draft a good policy for the country. We don't have all these things. And that's a serious
challenge. How do you see the future of trading or traders in Ghana?
It's slippery. Slippery. In a sense that if we are not careful, in the near future, Ghanaians will go out of business and all the business will be for foreigners. Yes, because what is happening now, people are saying one of the cry I hear is Ghanaians are saying the Chinese goods, the Chinese who are here, their goods are cheaper than ours. And it's a deliberate policy. In China, you don't take money. I went to US to go and buy a car and I was paying cash. The man was looking at my face. You're paying cash. And Ghana, everything is cash. But in China, when the manufacturer produce, they look for this university student, go and look for market, and come and we pay you on commission basis. So you don't pay money to go and look. So they are all over the world looking for market, and they sell it on commission. And so that's what's going to happen. So they will sell it at a cheaper rate and cheaper price. And finally, you see the Ghanaians will be going out of business. And then at the end of it, you see that the Chinese has taken over. And that is the dangerous aspect. If GIPC don't rise up and wake up, I'm giving myself the next 5 to 10 years, Ghanaians will go out of business. Because sincerely, now Ghanaians shops in the Okanshi, they cannot afford to pay for the rent, but the foreigner can afford to pay, and they are losing their shop to foreigners. And if we are not careful in the shortest spot, now the only part of the economy we have is the trading aspect, and if we lose that trading, then we are in trouble, because manufacturing is not in our hands. The telecos, the service industry now is service industry that is booming, but service industry is not in our hands. Service industry are in hands of foreigners. The banks are for foreigners, telecoms are for foreigners, the oil industry are for foreigners, and then
the gold industry is for foreigners, the diamond industry is for foreigners.
So at the end of the day, if we are not careful, let's give ourselves 5 to 10 years. If trading goes to foreigners, then we are doomed.
Then we are finished.
We are finished.
Thank you very much for
grateful.
Coming. Thank you very much for
grateful.
Coming. Well, viewers, we've been talking to Mr. Joseph Paddy, the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations. And we've been talking about the plight of traders in Ghana, the constraints they have, and so on. I've learned a lot from talking to this gentleman, and I do hope that all of us, at least today, better understand the problems of traders. Pan-African Television is your station of choice. Best in news, best in entertainment, best in everything. So please, keep your dial here until we meet again next week. It's goodbye from all of us from Pan-African Television, especially our producer-director, Adam Lumo. Bye-bye.